170-mile-per-hour shots down the quarter mile. In other words, because of the early shut-off performance in qualifying, John, Scott Kalita may have something up his sleeve. But Mike Dunn and Joe Paisano's machine easily capable of another 530. Now, Joe Paisano, the man who constructs the aluminum Chrysler Hemi engines run by many of these competitors, the JP1 aluminum Chrysler Hemi drag racing engine, uses a rather unusual combination. It's one of the few engines that still has water in the cylinder block. As a matter of fact, Joe Paisano swears that's one of the reasons this car can go 280 miles per hour. They move up to stage. Mike Dunn. A lot of excess fuel out of the pipes. They leave the starting line side by side. Now Dunn starts to drive away, but Kalita comes right back around. And look at the pass. 531, 286 miles per hour. The fastest run in funny car history by 6 miles per hour. Connie Kalita, he may not look it, but is thrilled with that attempt.
We're going to be back with the quarterfinals of Pro Stock Eliminator to Motorplex after these messages. Racetrack on an ideal sunny Texas afternoon. This is Ken Koretsky. Originally the number 11 qualifier in the field, Koretsky has made 2 runs down the quarter mile, his qualifying pass of 7.405 and a first round win of 7.407. His competitor will be Joe Lapone Jr., the number 14 qualifier at 7.42.4 with a first-round win of 7.42.0. We go to the third digit to tell you that these guys are running within thousandths of a second on each run down the quarter mile. However, at this juncture, Koretsky is the quicker of the two by 200ths of a second. Bret, it's going to be a tremendous afternoon in Pro Stock.
Well, Koretsky had his best finish ever just at the very last race of the IHRA Tour at the IHRA Fall Nationals, where he was runner-up. Joe Lapone has a pretty serious experience advantage here, and the easy wider Beretta benefits from the tremendous Chevy expertise of the legendary Bill Grumpy Jenkins, John.
Field qualified within an 1/8 of a second. Pressure on everybody at the start. Red light, Ken Koretsky, and the easy wider Beretta cycles into the next round as the experience of Joe Lapone executes a victory here at 7:45, 185 for Koretsky, a slowing 7:62, 185.
Well, John, just the fact that the car, Kenny Koretsky's car, slowed 0.2 of a second off its previous pace may have been the cause of the red light. He may have had much more pressure on him than before trying to get that whole shot.
The experience call on Lapone was right on, and here's another guy with lots of starting line experience, Warren Johnson, the number 1 qualifier in the AC Delco Oldsmobile at 7:32. Now, his first round win was at 7:39. He faces an alternate in the field. Rather interesting program here as Jeff Veldy was the number 17 qualifier at 7:46. Made it through the first round with a 7:51, but if he's going to be competitive against WJ, he's got to pick up almost an 1/8 of a second right now.
And he's going to have to do it either in sheer horsepower or in a hole shot. Very seldom do you see an alternate make it past the first round when they get in the show and one of the qualifiers can't make the call. But indeed, with Jeff Veldy and Buddy Ingersoll's unique Buick Skyhawk here against WJ, he's going to need the horsepower or the hole shot to create the ultimate upset in this round of Pro Stock, John.
Well, we'll find out how quick that 500 cubic inch Buick is right now against the mark for the field at 7:32. Low elapsed time for Pro Stock so far by Warren Johnson. They're staged and ready to move. All eyes on the starting line. As the 500 cubic inch GM motors are up, out of the chute they go. Veldy gets his hole shot, but WJ starts to pick it right back. It's horsepower time, and here comes the Oldsmobile. WJ goes into the next round with his 740, 187 combination. Veldy 749 at 185, the runner-up.
Well, if nothing else, Warren Johnson proves that he's still got the horsepower. That was the quickest elapsed time of this round so far at 7.40 seconds here in the heat of the day. Frank Iaconio in the near lane with the Super Shops Pontiac Trans Am takes on one of the true upsetters of the 1988 season, John Morris Johnson Jr.
Johnson a bit faster in the 730s this afternoon. Frank Iaconio's going to have to do some catching up. They're out of the gate. It's a good start side by side. The GM cars race. Morris Johnson Jr. with horsepower wins at the finish line. Very, very close race. Morris Johnson Jr. goes into the next round with a 742, 185, 744 at 186 for Iaconio.
Well, here's Larry Morgan, who has definitely been on a roll this weekend. In fact, breaking into the very, very low 7.30 second range so far this weekend with the Castrol GTX Oldsmobile. But here's a machine that carries a lot of sentiment with it into this event, John. Ricky Smith, the defending IHRA World Pro Stock Eliminator champions, brand new Ford Probe, is also the last of the mountain-motored Pro Stockers left in this program. And as many of our hardcore IHRA fans know, this is the last year for the over 500 cubic inch engines in Pro Stock Eliminator in this association. And Ricky Smith's 704 cubic inch Ford Probe is going to try and go as far as it can in these elimination rounds, John.
Smith a bit off his pace here this weekend, Bret. The number 10 qualifier at 7:39. First round ran at 7:47. He's against the number 2 qualifier, Morgan, at 7:33, who stays in the 30s with a 7:38 in the first round. So Ricky Smith, last of the mountain-motored IHRA Pro Stockers, in against the super effective 500 cubic inch Olds combination of Larry Morgan. They're ready at the tree. Smith taking his time now. Stage motors up, out of the chute they go, and the whole shot out of the gate goes to Larry Morgan. Now Smith is going to try to reel him in. Will he do it? Oldsmobile wins. The elapsed time for Larry Morgan, 7:42, 186. Smith, 7:45, 187. Here's Pat.
Well, what you see going on behind me, guys, is Gene Snow in the staging lanes getting ready to go into this semifinal. They notice they've been blistering the tires a little bit, so they're going to throw another set of tires on the machine. Not a good sign on the staging lanes for the Snowman. Let's see how it comes out.
When we return to the Motorplex, it'll be the Top Fuel semifinal round of the Chief Auto Parts Nationals.
Best, and earlier Pat Patterson had a chance to talk with the California driver.
As far as the Motorplex goes, this is such a fast racetrack. And do you do a lot of different things here that you normally don't do at other racetracks?
Yeah, you actually can run your motor a lot stouter, and we really enjoy running this track because of the superiority of it. And you can learn really a lot about your operation when you come to this racetrack.
Well, Ormsby better be on his game right now, as Eddie Hill, who qualified in the 4s, is inching toward it again. Let's see if the Northern California Toyota dealership owner can bring it off.
Well, in order to run in the 4-second zone in the heat of the day here in the afternoon, it's going to take a lot of power. On the green light, they leave the starting line. Neither car smokes the tires side by side. The wing starts to come apart on Hill's car, but he still runs 499 at 278 miles per hour. A wild, wild effort, John, considering the fact that he had to have lost a lot of downforce when the side fence came off the wing. Here it is in slow motion. You can see the left side fence on top of the wing, and then the secondary wing element tearing right off the top of the aerodynamic spoiler, John.
And the primary wing starts to flutter, making it an exciting afternoon for Eddie Hill. Now, here's Pat Patterson with a Quaker State Quick Fact. The big Q stands for quality, always has, and always will.
Today's Quaker State Quick Fact is about quick service. And quick service on a drag strip means that when there's an oil down or a problem situation, we can get it cleaned up fast. The machine you see behind me, that's the machine that gets the job done. This is Mike Venable. Mike, tell me a little bit about the jet dryer.
Well, the jet dryer is a Ford van. Inside is a Viper Rolls-Royce jet engine, and that is used to clean up an oil down, dry the track, Mother Nature with rain.
As far as how much this is used during a particular drag race, it can be used quite a bit.
Yeah, we'd like to not use it, but, you know, there's some cases where you have to use it, and we can use it up to 7 or 8 times a day.
Being that drag racing is certainly an entertainment sport, the faster we can get cars back on the racetrack, the better it is for the fans and for the participants.
We're back at the starting line as Darrell Gwynn, 27 years of age, from Florida, gets ready to race a man a quarter-century his senior, Gene Snow. Now, Snow ran a 5 flat in the quarterfinals. Gwynn comes in just over a 10th slow at 5:11. Obviously committed to a hole shot, Bret.
Well, Snow, with that brand new set of tires, should be able to put down a lot of power on this particular racing service, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised, John, to see an even deeper 4-second run than that 499.
Snow blows the tires away, and it's over. Darrell Gwynn sprints to the quarter mile of victory. He'll go into the final 5:05 at 286 miles per hour. Second time today that speed's been turned, Bret.
Incredible upset. That is the fastest speed of Darrell Gwynn's life, and he's never gone that quick except for the last time he was at the Texas Motorplex. We'll be back in just a moment with Funny Car and Pro Stock semifinals from the Chief Auto Parts Nationals after these messages.
Mark Oswald prepares to return to the fray as we're back. Chief Auto Parts Nationals at the Texas Motorplex. You stare down the nose of the Miller High Life Oldsmobile of Ed the Ace McCulloch, and something's wrong under the body as there's some frantic motion going on, perhaps a fuel leak. One of the guys running around under there about to try to fix it, Bret. Oswald apparently with some hassle.
Well, this could be a tremendous break for Ed the Ace McCulloch, and indeed, if he can just get down this racetrack, he could have a shot at $100,000.
You know, the one thing that's going to beat us out here is smoking the tires, and we're well aware of that. So we're just taking it one round at a time and, you know, stepping on it as hard as we think we have to win the round. And, you know, we're not trying to run low ET of the world or, you know, nothing like that. We're just trying to win the round by round.
The Ace's classic line, low ET of the world. Well, Johnny's already accomplished that with that 5:23 during qualifying. It looks like a softer combination to help try and get him down the track.
They're staged and ready to move. Green light, hold shot Oswald. The Ace is going to need his horsepower, and here it comes. It's over at mid-course. There goes the Ace. He's in the final round with a 5:32-268 combination. Oswald's best, a 5:56 at 2:56. Kalitta's guys are checking the race course out, as on the course is this. The pea soup green expensive color of oil and water from the ventilated engine of the Candies and Hughes machine. The track has been cleaned up. We're now ready for the second half of the semifinal round. Here's Pat with Scott Kalitta.
It was a real good pass, that last one you made out there. You do anything different this time around? It seems like the racetrack may be changing a little bit, though.
No, we're just trying to make it so it'll get down the racetrack this time, you know, make the clutch so it'll slip a little bit so we don't smoke the tires. That's my main concern right now.
Well, if nothing else, Scott Kalitta can now be content with the title of the world's fastest funny car driver by 6 full miles per hour. Tom Hoover's crewman turns on the onboard computer as the Showtime Trans Am and Scott Kalitta's Oldsmobile Cutlass stage up for the semifinal duel. They leave the starting line, but Kalitta does boil the tires, and Tom Hoover in the champion auto parts Showtime Trans Am goes into his first final round in a long, long time. A 5:42 at only 240 miles an hour indicates a lot left. Pat Patterson is in the top fuel pit area.
Well, final preparations are going on right now, gentlemen, on Eddie Hill's car. 100,000 reasons to do a good job, as if he can pull this one off, he takes home the big money. We talked to the crew chief, Fuzzy Carter. The story on the last semifinal pass was a couple of burnt pistons, but no real major worries. They're going to replace those, go back to the line with the same kind of strategy. Should be one whale of a finish here at the Motorplex.
We return to the starting line at the Texas Motorplex. It's Pro Stock semi-final round time, and Lapone gets real close to one of his staging guys, as on the left side of your screen, the easy, wider Beretta comes up to face the Castro GTX Oldsmobile of Larry Morgan.
Certainly was a wild burnout, but earlier Pat had a chance to talk with Lapone.
Any one of these 4 cars left can win. It's going to be a driver's race here. We've been real fortunate. I don't even have my engine in the car. I have a guy's engine from Kansas. A guy named Jerry Human was fortunate enough, and he didn't qualify, let me his engine. We're doing real well with it, so this whole combination's new to us, and I'm real happy. It looks like it's going to work out for us.
We have an opportunity to find out if Lapone's correct. They're out of the gate and proceeding down the quarter mile. Morgan got the lead. Lapone out of the game. Castro GTX Oldsmobile goes into the final round. The elapsed time for the victor, 7:45. Speed 186. Also at 186 was Lapone, a tad slower, however, at 7:46.
Wild run, considering the fact that Morgan got pretty out of shape off the starting line. That was an excellent, excellent run in the mid-740s. Here's a guy that can go a lot quicker than that when he has to, and even he gets out of shape on the burnout. Warren Johnson's AC Delco Olds has been astounding today, and so is Morris Johnson Jr.'s incredible Pontiac Trans Am.
We've got to get out with Warren and hopefully be a little bit in front of him when we go in high gear, because he obviously has a little more horsepower than we do. So hopefully at quarter-mile mark, we'll be out in front a little bit, and he'll have to chase me down.
Johnson and Johnson, 0.02 of a second apart as we stage in the last race semi-final round of Pro Stock Eliminator.
WJ, inching forward on the starting line, knows that he is close to another championship battle. They leave the starting line, and the whole shot goes to Morris Johnson Jr. by 0.05 of a second, but Warren Johnson drives around him with the blue and white Cutlass to take the victory. A tremendous 7:38 over 187 miles per hour for WJ. Still to come, the Alcohol and Pro Stock Finals from the Chief Auto Parts National.
Is from the Motorplex, and in the pits with Warren Johnson is Pat Patterson.
Well, gentlemen, it's an all-Oldsmobile final in the Pro Stock division. Warren Johnson takes on Larry Morgan. As you can see behind me, Warren is working real hard, trying to get his valve springs in just the right shape for this final round. He's had the kind of passes that victory weekends are made out of, but Larry Morgan's on a roll. Look for this one to be a good one.
It's the Alcohol Funny Car Final. This is Ace Menzo. In competition today, 6'10", 6'11", 6'12", 228 miles per hour, a 6.0 and 2:30 in qualifying. Bret, he's ready to race Pat Austin.
That's right, and the Red Ford Thunderbird from Key Auto Parts ran the world's quickest pass in this Eliminator, 6:06 in qualifying. In the semifinal, it was a rerun of the Fall Nationals finale in which John Semlich had beaten Manzo. But the Pleasure Seekers Ford Tempo in the far lane gave it everything he had and still came up a 1/10 of a second short to Manzo's 6:12 at over 228 miles per hour. A little bit sideways there after pulling the parachute as well, but Manzo still had more horsepower than anybody at this racetrack, including this man, Pat Austin, the driver of the Castrol GTX Waltz Muffler Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Now, Austin had put down some tremendous runs during this event, including a 229-mile-an-hour qualifying speed, but he always seemed to be 0.05 of a second or more behind Manzo during eliminations, including this match against Rich Langston, John.
Austin against Langston, semifinal round, Top Alcohol Funny Car. They're ready to make their move.